So I had no idea that Grandparents' Day was a thing until maybe around the time my daughter was born. Grandparents' Days are celebrated throughout the world, and here in the United States where I live, it has been officially celebrated since 1978. While the dates vary depending, of course, on which country you're in, here in the United States, Grandparents' Day falls on the first or second Sunday in September, whichever one comes after Labor Day. And so I wanted to share some books for Grandparents' Day here with you today. Hello, my name is Robin at Bookbound Mama, and here on this channel I love to share about books, especially children's books. And today I want to share 10 picture books for Grandparents' Day. So in our collection we have a couple of books that have grandparents in them, but I wanted to see what else was out there for this video and for Grandparents' Day, and I was pleasantly surprised by just how many books, picture books, are out there with grandparents. I ordered tons of books from the library, as I usually do for any topic I'm delving into, and there were still so many that I did not even get to order or that were either unavailable or our library didn't have. So these are just 10 that resonated for me, but I would love to hear from any of you if you have any favorite books that feature grandparents. Also, I understand that everyone's situation with their grandparents or with their kids' grandparents is going to vary widely. So I tried to choose a variety. I was actually looking for more that dealt with grandparents who had passed on, since two of our kids' grandparents are no longer with us. I'm sure those are out there. I just didn't find a lot of those in my current search. So most of the books I have today are fairly lighthearted and involve grandparents who either live close by or are coming to visit. The first book I have is called A Maleta Full of Treasures. And this book was published in 2024. It was written by Natalia Sylvester and illustrated by Juana Medina. So in this story, a young girl's abuela, or grandmother, is coming to visit. And when she arrives, she has a mountain of suitcases, or maletas. And the young girl is so excited to see what treasures her grandmother has brought in these suitcases. And in the suitcases, there are candies and cozy blankets and storybooks and photographs. And it just shows the young girl and her abuela sharing in enjoying these things, and abuela sharing about her home and her culture with the young girl. When it's time for abuela to leave, the young girl wants to return the favor and share some of the things from her home life with her grandma to send back home with her and share with the parts of the family who live by her abuela. I just delight in seeing the connection between the girl and her abuela, and the girl just learning more about the country where her parents were from and where her abuela lives. It's so sweet, and it's just such a fun read. This next book is called I Really Want to See You, Grandma, and this is by Tero Gomi. This book was published in Japan in 1979 and published in the United States in 2018. You might recognize Tero Gomi's artwork. We have several sort of fill-in-the-coloring books by Tero Gomi, and he also is famous for his classic Everyone Poops. So the style is very cartoony and simple, almost like preschool looking, but it's so cute. It's really sweet. A little girl and her grandmother live on opposite sides of town, and they both separately decide they'd really love to see each other on this particular day. So they both start making their way towards each other, and they keep missing each other along the way, but neither of them lets this deter them, and they figure out a way to connect on that day and in the future. And it's just really, really simple. Almost has like a preschool-y feel to it, but it's just really sweet. I think that any age would enjoy it. It's really cute. This next book is called What a Beautiful Morning. This one was published in 2016. It was written by Arthur A. Levine and illustrated by Katie Kath. In this book, Grandpa and his grandson Noah have a blast hanging out together and singing songs together while they take their walks or make breakfast. They have just a really, really special bond. And even though grandma is in the picture, she's sort of like off to the side in the beginning. So as the story progresses, grandpa begins to forget things. He forgets sort of the daily tasks. He even forgets his own grandson at one point. And even though this is a very sad and serious thing, it still feels approachable and readable and not too heavy, if that makes sense. And the illustrator does such a great job of portraying when grandpa is forgetting things versus remembering, because when the boy starts singing or when songs are around, grandpa starts to remember. He comes back to his old self, and he remembers everything again. And I really love seeing in the parts where grandpa is forgetful, Noah and his grandmother sort of form this new relationship and new bond, and they start doing some of the same things together that Noah used to do with his grandfather. And so that's just really kind of bittersweet to see. And I also love this power of music that's portrayed in this book. I have seen firsthand the way that music and song can jog a person's memory, and it is just incredible to see. So this book really hit home for me to see that, and how hearing these songs was the key to grandpa remembering other things as well. This book is called Like So, and it was published in 2024. It was written by Ruth Foreman and illustrated by Raisa Figueroa. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna get this wrong. Raisa Figueroa. This book is just sort of a simple but beautiful poem, which has love at the core of it. It's a grandmother talking to her granddaughter, and it's talking about the love between them. And then just as they're walking around in nature, she is talking about the love that's just seen everywhere out in the world and in nature. So the words themselves took a bit of warming up for me to get into. I can be kind of a stickler about capitalization and proper grammar. So sometimes when poems don't follow some of those rules, it just takes me a while to get into. But the illustrations in this book are so incredibly gorgeous. I am in love with this illustrator, and so I just kept coming back to this book in my pile of books to choose from, and I was just head over heels for this gorgeous book. I came to really appreciate the whole package of this book, the beautiful poem and the gorgeous artwork. The very, very last page of this book shows the girl looking out the window with sort of love swirling around her, and I think that page can be interpreted in different ways depending on a person's situation with their grandparent, whether or not the girl was just going to bed and thinking of her grandmother, or whether she was remembering her grandmother. The next book is also about a grandmother and granddaughter that seemed to be the overarching theme of at least the ones that I picked out. I did not see as many books about grandfathers, and I did not see a lot of books about grandmothers and grandsons, although there is one coming up. So this one is called The Longest, Strongest Thread. This is by Imbal Leitner, and it was published in 2020, I believe in Great Britain. Hold on. 2020 in Great Britain, and then 2022 in the US. So in this book, a young girl's family is moving far away from her grandmother. Her grandmother is a seamstress, and so as the girl is talking about drawing a map for her grandma to know how to find her and making a little airplane out of fabric pieces, her grandmother is making her a coat because the granddaughter is moving somewhere far away that's cold. And there's just this reminder that they're always going to be connected. The title of this book, The Longest, Strongest Thread, reminded me of the book, The Invisible String, just that these two are always going to be connected no matter how far apart they are. And in the end, the grandma does come out for a visit it's really just sweet to see that their connection is still there even though they're far apart. This next book is called Grandpa is Here. This was written in 2023. This was written by Tanya Rossi and illustrated by Chuck Groening. And just as I'm explaining that I didn't have very many of these, this one is about a grandfather and his granddaughter. So a young girl's grandfather is visiting, and she is a bit shy at first, but she's so excited to show him all the things. Like, she's excited to show him all these little nature places around where she lives. And the girl and her grandfather don't speak the same language. She speaks English and he speaks Farsi or Persian, but you just see they have this beautiful, beautiful connection throughout the story, and the little girl just adores her grandfather and wishes that he could stay longer. It is so, so sweet. It warms my heart so much. There's a scene where she goes to see him when he's sleeping and just holds his hand, and it just melts my heart. This book is called Grandma's Purse. This was published in 2018, and it is by Vanessa Brantley Newton. In this book, a little girl's Mimi is coming over to visit, and Mimi brings her purse. And the little girl just loves looking through her Mimi's purse, and she loves putting on the lipstick and fixing her Mimi's hair with the bobby pins that are in there. And just seeing all the treasures that are in there. She loves exploring them, but also sort of using these items from the purse to sort of dress up like grandma. I can just feel that delight that the little girl has to just be around her grandmother and see all of these items that we would think are just so simple. She just treasures each one because it's her grandma's, it's her Mimi's bag of stuff. And the little gift at the end is so sweet. So this is just such a fun, delightful book. This book is called My Baba's Garden. This was published in 2023. It was written by Jordan Scott and illustrated by Sydney Smith. They worked together on another book called Talk Like a River, if you've heard of that one. In this story, a boy spends his sort of before school time and after school time with his Baba, with his grandmother, in her house, which I think is an old chicken coop. And I get the impression I don't think they speak a lot of the same language, but you could tell they just have their routine. And the boy is so observant of the way that his grandmother, that his Baba does things, how she kisses his food if it falls. She loves searching for worms after it rains so she can add them to her garden. They spend time in her garden looking at all her vegetables and flowers. And eventually Baba gets too old to be living by herself. So she moves in with the boy's family. And even though the boy's parents are busy, the boy knows what's important to his grandmother, and he tries his best to get her a little plant and to go out and get worms like she would do. And so it's definitely got more of a serious tone than some of the other ones, but still very approachable, not too heavy, just very sweet to see the boy carrying on the traditions that were so important to his grandmother that she can't really do anymore. This next book is called Tea with Grandpa. It is by Barney Salzberg, and I cannot find this book anywhere. I don't know where I got it, but I don't see it online. It doesn't exist on Barney Salzberg's site. It doesn't exist on any bookshops. I don't know where it is. This was published in 2014. In this book, a young girl and her grandpa meet up every afternoon for tea, and we just see them laughing together and enjoying their tea parties. And then there's this lovely 21st century twist at the end. I am a sucker for tea parties, so I just love this book. I love the idea of connecting this way. I love that it's just sort of a fun, lighthearted connection between a grandparent and a grandchild, because even though there can be rough things that happen as a person is aging, I love this reminder that some time periods or some connections between grandparents and grandchildren are just lighthearted. And then this book I've talked about before. This is called Thundercake. It was published in 1990. It's by Patricia Polacco. I talked about this book in my summer picture books video. And in this book, a young girl is really frightened of an approaching storm and the loud thunder, and so her grandma distracts her by having them make Thundercake. And she says the rule is they have to collect all the ingredients for the cake before the storm rolls in. So it's very farm-based and old-fashioned feeling. They go collect the eggs and they milk the cow and all of these things to get their ingredients. along the way, the girl is facing various other fears. She's doing all these brave things along the way. And so they get the cake in the oven just in time. And the grandmother just reminds her granddaughter that she did do all these courageous things just in the process of making this Thunder Cake. There is a recipe for Thunder Cake in the back of the book. I used to make a version that did not have the shortening in it, but it's a super fun book. I love that there's that extra activity that you can make a cake when you're reading it. So those are my 10 books for Grandparents' Day. Again, if you're in the US, Grandparents' Day is the first Sunday that comes after Labor Day. This year, as I'm filming this, it's the 7th of September. I just thought it's fun to have books or picture books to share with kids you work with, or to share with your own children, or even just for you as an adult. If you haven't seen my Picture Books Are for Everyone video, check that out. Grandparents' Day can be just a good day to connect with grandparents who live close by and maybe have a dinner or something, or give grandparents a call or a FaceTime on that day. Or if grandparents have passed away, it might be a good day to bring out some pictures or light a candle, maybe make some favorite foods, and just remember the grandparents in our lives. Thank you so much for being here and for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.